National Action Network. Power in action. 35 years of justice, impact, and purpose.
Wow. This is the Saturday after I had done 90 days in federal jail for leading a protest in Vieques, Puerto Rico. And I had went down to join Latino activists that were against the Navy bombings that was exercising Navy bombings that was causing asthma and health effects among the children there. And I was on my way to Saturday rally one Saturday, and I said, if they're going down there protesting that, and they were protesters, they would go out in the Navy base in the field and lay down, and they'd arrest them for being on federal property. And if they were doing that, then I would join them, because many of the Latino leaders went to jail with us protesting Amadou Diallo. I ended up having to do 90 days in federal jail. They transferred me from the federal prison in Puerto Rico, me and 3 others that went. They only got 40 days. They said because I'd had a long sheet that it was of many other civil rights arrests. They gave me 90 days. I had to do 50 by myself. When I got out and went to the Saturday rally, Stephanie Mills, who we'd known each other since we were kids, she was there and sang at the rally that Saturday. That's her singing Home, as soon as I get home. 1, she knew I loved the song, but 2, it was appropriate because I was coming home. And we won that. They closed the Navy base in Vieques, Puerto Rico. You go there now, there's buildings and condos and a little plaque for the 4 of us. They call the Vieques 4. March the 13th. Do you know what time it is? It's Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. It's very good afternoon to you all across the country. Good morning to our West Coast listeners. Welcome to those listening on Sirius XM, Channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. I'm coming to you live from our National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York. You can join the conversation by calling us at 1-877-532-5797 or go on our message board as Barbara Jean is doing, saying, Friday afternoon greetings from Chicago. Glad Chicago is on the message board early. And Rod Hamilton Sr. is saying, Reverend Al, you are a true preacher, man. I heard you at Jesse Jackson's funeral and you were amazing. Well, thank you. I've been preaching since I was a little boy, so I believe that's my calling. So I'm happy when somebody is moved by it. We have a lot to talk about today. Okay, Dawn the Educator. Dawn the Educator is on our message board saying peace from Charleston, South Carolina. I'm a New Yorker holding on family. All right. I love that. I like to know people from around the country, even parts of the world, we get people on our message board. Let me say that we a lot to talk about. This is Exhale Friday. On Exhale Friday, whatever is on your mind or in your heart, all you have to do is call us or go on the message board. A lot is happening. We find since yesterday's show, 6 U.S. Officers were killed in a plane crash, fueling crash. In Iran's new supreme leader is likely disfigured. Both was revealed by Secretary of Defense. He likes to say Secretary of War, Hegseth. The refueling aircraft crashed in western Iraq, killing all 6 crew members, with CENTCOM saying it was not caused by hostile or mistaken fire. This was just a refueling death. But the fact they're over there refueling indirectly, or in my opinion directly, involves the whole war. At the same time, the U.S. and Israel intensified their military campaign on Iran, with President Trump warning Iran's leadership to, quote, watch what happens, and Hegseth signaling the largest waves of strikes yet. And all in all, we're seeing the human toll continues to climb. More than 1,200 reported killed in Iran, along with U.S. service members. And meanwhile, oil prices have surged back above $100 a barrel as Iran launched fresh attacks across the Gulf, while the U.S. moved to ease sanctions on Russian oil. And let me be real clear. This war has cost over $12 billion already. This is coming out of a federal government whose debt is increasing and who says they have to cut things from Doge with jobs. And I think that it is what they're cutting in education, they're cutting in public services, but they spend now well over $12 billion in going in Iran and still can't tell us why we're there. There is still no coherent message as to why we're there. First, they said that they had the minerals to make an atomic bombs. That spins up not true. Then they say we stopped them 12 days before they were going to make an attack. Well, that's not true. So now Trump is saying, well, it was preemptive. Preemptive of what? Based on what intelligence? And just spending this money, and not saying how this is going to end. When do we pull out? Even some of the MAGA crowd is saying, you promise us no wars, you say America first. Well, if it's America first, why are we in Iraq, Iran, Venezuela, and talking about going to Cuba? I thought the America First crowd said they didn't want this. I thought they said that this was the peace president. He wanted the Nobel Peace Prize. So that's one concern. Then we have the 2 attacks yesterday, one at a Michigan synagogue, the other at a Virginia university, and at Dominion. And both may or may not be related to terrorism. They're saying the shooter in Michigan and the shooter in, well, they're saying the shooter in Virginia and Michigan Both had ties. The Lebanese-born shooter in Michigan drove an explosive laden vehicle into a synagogue and died during the attack. Now, I said this morning, I was on Morning Joe this morning, I'm against any targeted attack on anybody, Jews, Muslims, blacks, whatever. And I am as anti-Netanyahu as anybody. I think, and I said that, I don't totally disagree with Netanyahu, but to be targeting and killing anyone that's Jewish because you disagree with Netanyahu's policies is as wrong as anything else you could do. Because then you could start shooting or bombing any race, including black folks, based on other things. I'm against that. Some people say it's justified. Well, I don't see the justification there. The other, in Dominion, same thing. We do not know what the connection is, but he had an explosive-laden vehicle. We must denounce the normalizing of dealing with our political differences with killing innocent people, whether they're in a synagogue, whether in a school. And I'm glad Reverend Charles Williams and National Action Network Michigan is going to have at their Saturday rally tomorrow that we are calling for all terrorism and targeted terrorism at that to be denounced because it will come back on us. And I think that is just something that we must and clearly must stand for and stand together. The United States economy, well, before I go there, let me tell you that according to all indications, over the past 14 months, Democrats have flipped 28 Republican-held state legislative seats, including wins in traditionally conservative states like Texas and Arkansas and Mississippi, raising concerns among GOP strategists that a Democratic blue wave could impact the coming election. Now, analysts say issues such as the high cost of living and economic pressures are pushing voters toward change. Some Republicans acknowledge that the party may be struggling to motivate low propensity voters who helped return Trump to the White House. I raise all of that because you will then see that people will start using misinformation and will try voter suppression tactics, since it looks like the Democrats are catching a momentum against the Republicans heading into these midterm elections. That is what the SAVE Act is all about, going back to voter ID and all kinds of extra requirements, saying we're looking to prevent fraud and prevent foreigners from voting. We went through that and stopped it under Bush. Now here comes Trump with the same game. Why do we stop it? Because there is disproportionate, according to data, blacks and browns are more inclined not to have the voter ID they want, and they're targeted. If you can minimize our vote, they can win some of these districts. So we need to talk about all of this. And again, we are looking at the fact that the Iran war, most Americans are against it. The tariffs, most Americans were against it. And we see the economy expanded at a sluggish 0.7% in the fourth quarter. So we're not doing well economically. It is a formula for disaster for this president, and they know it. All right, you can start your calls. XL Friday 1-877-532-5797 or the message board. KC Turrentine is saying hello from North Carolina. Well, hello there to you. All right, we'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. We are in critical times. Healthcare premiums are going up, oil and gas going up, all kinds of things that are costing us what we are comfortable to or what we were getting by. That's why I am asking you to be at the National Action Network Convention, where we're going to have leading political figures, leading civil rights leaders, leading activists, leading faith leaders, leading youth activists convene at the National Action Network Convention, April the 8th through the 11th, where we are going to strategize, hear the plenary sessions, question, and come out with how we back up this whole retrenchment of our rights and our ability to live. It's not just about rhetoric, it's about a strategy and get results. That's why we in National Action Network have always been on the front line, and we need you with us more now than ever. To register, all of our sessions are free. All of our sessions are free. To register, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net or call the toll-free number 1-877-626-4651. Don't worry about how tough they are. Worry about how tough we must become. We never had a victory without a fight. It's time to strategize and fight back.
Voting rights!
Voting rights.
Everyone look here.
Say it again, Ms. Pearl.
Voting rights.
Voting rights. One more time, Ms. Pearl.
Voting rights.
There we go.
Voting rights. Voting rights.
Voting rights.
Voting rights.
Voting rights.
When do we want it?
Now.
When do we need it?
Now. Yesterday.
What do we want?
Voting rights.
When do we need it?
Now.
What do we want?
Voting rights.
When do we need it?
Now.
I remember I was 12 years old. I was a boy preacher in the Church of God in Christ. Bishop Sheard knew my bishop, Bishop Washington. Bishop Washington, my mother was concerned I was getting into politics. They brought us to Reverend William Jones. His daughter's traveling with us. And Reverend Jones introduced me to Jesse Jackson. I became his youth director in New York at 13. I liked Reverend Jackson because he was a little hipper than the older preachers. He was 27, I was 13 by the time I became youth director. So he was like a father figure to me. When I got about 40, he said, quit calling me father, call me big brother. We went to the car center, and James Meeks and Jesse Jr. and I had dinner with him that night. And that's where he said to us, Al, Meeks, Jesse Jr., y'all are my disciples. And we said, disciples? And for years we joked each other. I'd come in the room and Junior said, here's disciple number one. But discipleship meant you carried forth the vision. The next day, he took me on the ferry to Goree Island, Mrs. Jackson. On Goree Island, he showed me where the slave camps were. And I will never forget, he said, Al, you see what that artifact is? I said, what's that? He said, they call it the door of no return. When you go through that door, you either made it to America to slavery, or you died in the Atlantic. The door of no return. But I talked to him about 3 years ago, And I reminded him, I said, remember when you brought me to the door of no return? He said, yeah. I said, well, we did return. We returned the President of the United States, Barack Obama. We returned the Vice President, Kamala Harris. We returned with businessmen. They thought they sent us as slaves. We came back as global liberators. The problem is that too many of us did not join the movements that sponsored us. And there was a breakout in 2024 called Negro Amnesia, where you forgot where you came from and forgot how you got where you got. Therefore, they're trying to take back everything you had. Many people cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling and life purpose. In order to focus, you must also be clear on what you're focusing on. So if you're not clear on your purpose, if you're not clear on your life's calling, then focus on seeking that. Because if you just read the ways and roads you traveled that you didn't even choose, that were sort of just laid out for you by God, in that it's telling you, speaking to you about what your purpose is and what you were born to do and be. I learned the things that I didn't plan had to be planned by God, and God's plan was directed toward God's purpose in my life. And I focus on that. Not focus on what others do, not focus on how well they're doing or bad they're doing, but focus on whether I'm in line and aligned with what I'm supposed to be about. And in order to move straight ahead, you have to be focused on the path you're running on.
It's been a long time coming, but I know
1968, Dr. Martin Luther King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of Nash Action Network to always, in the month he was killed, to let them know they killed the dreamer.
I have a dream today.
When they came for the dream.
You're live.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. It's Exhale Friday. Whatever's on your mind, whatever is in your heart. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Exhale Friday. Let me say by way of announcements, do not forget to watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, Saturday, and also Sunday. And I'm going to deal with a plethora of issues. I'm going to deal with Iran. I'm going to have on the Ranking Intelligence Committee member. Among other members of Congress, I'm going to deal with the voter situation around the vote they're trying to get through, what Trump is trying to get through. And I'm going to have on Sean Harris, who won. He got the highest vote, black candidate, Democrat, got the highest vote in the runoff in Marjorie Taylor Greene's district. And now he's on a runoff between him and the Republican. We'll have him on, talk about the whole question of voting and how he pulled this off, and how he intends to win now that he came in the top voter. How many of those voters will shift and stay with him? I'm gonna have that in or that on. I'm gonna have the impact of this whole shutdown of the government. I'm gonna have on one of the officers of TSA. And this weekend I'm gonna have on Jim Clyburn, the iconic, I think, congressman who's announced at 85 he's gonna run one more time. And I'm gonna have him on. I'm gonna have Austin Davis on, the lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania, talking about how this is impacting the states. And I'm gonna have on some of those entertainment experts talk about the Oscars, which is this Sunday, and how we protested. Nan was at the lead of that, of Oscars So White, and where we are today. So make sure you watch both nights, Saturday and Sunday, at MSNOW, MS Now, formerly MSNBC, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Then you that in the New York area, New Jersey area, Connecticut area, meet me or beat me to the National Action Network's weekly Saturday action rallies. I will be there in the morning, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Make sure you're there. And you that are not in the New York vicinity, you can watch it live on nationalactionnetwork.net or YouTube/NAN or Impact Television. Impact Television, only black-owned national gospel network, television network. And of course, I'm really very happy, I'll put it that way, almost astounded at the amount of people that are pre-registered for the convention of National Action Network, 35-year anniversary, labored in the vineyard, and I have not even announced names of who's going to be there. A lot of very, very impressive, important people making speeches, doing fireside chats, doing the workshops. And we have well over 7,672 people have registered as of now. I was going to cut it off at 5,000 because we had 10,000 people come last year, and we ended up with an overage. But I just told the hotel, give me bigger rooms already, so register. So if I have to cut it off at we up to 7,600, if I have to cut it off at 8,000, you're in. Register. Now, when you register, let me take time to say this, get on the air. You may say, I'm only going to be there for one day. I'm going to be there half a day. I'm going to be there all 4 days. I'm going to be there 3 days. Fine, but you need to register. So if the rooms that you choose to go hear one of the speakers or be involved in one of the plenary sessions, if they loaded or filled up, you can say, no, I'm pre-registered. They go on the and they make a room for you. That's why we always keep a certain amount of seats empty until the actual program starts, so that pre-registrars get the priority. It's all free. All the sessions are free, the fireside chats, all of it, everything is free. I'm going to release the schedule of events probably next Tuesday, but so you can see which events you want to go to and who's speaking. But make sure you pre-register. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or go to the toll-free number, 1-877-626-4650. 888-848-5251. All right, it is Exhale Friday. I'm really interested in what you have to say about all of the issues of the day. It particularly interesting to me, and it's Exhale. I mean, everything is fair game, as they say today. You can talk about whatever you want, but I'm particularly interested in how there's been a deafening silence from a lot of people on this bogus war in Iran. People getting killed with accidents, mistakes over there, billions of dollars, $12 billion spent, and it is never, ever been explained, justified. Roderick McCoy is saying on our message board, this is only the beginning for Trump. He's trying to start war with anybody he can in order to stay in power. The Congress, the Senate, Supreme Court need to grow a spine and stop this madness. I agree with you, Roger. I agree with it. And Pauline McCullough says, I still feel Iran is still no joke. All right. And Taniqua Wembley says, diabolical. I think that is a very good description. All right, let's go to the phones. 1-877. One 532-5797. Let's start with Wale in Manhattan. Wale.
Good afternoon, Reverend Al Sharpton.
Good afternoon.
Okay. I caught you on last Sunday on your morning show.
Right.
What's it called again?
Sunday Morning with Al Sharpton.
Huh?
Sunday Morning with Al Sharpton.
Right, Sunday Morning with Al Sharpton. And so this guy calls up and he says, enough with the rhetoric, what are we going to do? And your answer was perfect. So he calls in to talk about, we tired of hearing all this rhetoric. What are we going to do? And I want to hear your answer. And you told him, get up and do something along that line. And I was in the house, walked in, I said, that's perfect answer. No, I said, good answer. Good answer, Rev. Because first of all, looking for a group, start your own group. How about you do that? How about you start your, we look over what group I'm going to join and our leaders, what are our leaders doing, and all this kind of stuff like that, right? Hopefully I'll be able to finish. But you can start your own group. I think the problem with us is, I can get to that later. The other thing I wanted to say to you, because you do start your own stuff, is what you got to do. But the other thing I wanted to say is, you had interviewed Harris. What's up, Kamala? There's an interview on your show, Keepin the Real show, and when you break, they show stuff that you've done, and you interviewed Kamala Harris. In that interview, now Sharpton, I'm sure people can dig up dirt on me too, so it ain't like I'm squeaky perfect. But she was drunk. She was drunk. You could hear it in her voice. I've heard rumors of her being a drunk, but I don't follow people's rumors because I've been lied on before too. So I know how it feels to be lied on. But in that interview, you can hear she was drunk. That's number one. Okay. Only reason why I'm bringing it up, which I probably shouldn't have, but I only brought it up was because I'm saying to myself, where would we really be now had she gotten in? Wait a minute, let me finish because I like you, Sharpton. I really do. I love Nan. I love the huddle, all y'all. Y'all may not seem like you used to, but this is for a reason. But I love y'all. Okay, so let's be clear with that. But she was drunk in that interview. You could hear it in her voice. And I say to myself, she probably does have a drinking problem. So
let me look at that tape again. I've never, thank you for your call, Wally. I've never seen any indication that she appeared drunk to me, but I'll review it again. Thank you for your call. It's XL Fridays, fair game for everybody to say what they got to say. Let me take the break. I hear the music. We'll be right back after this. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Keeping it real. Around this is so wicked. Now they're going to, they released last night a memo that said that the FBI was investigating good. They're trying to come up with something on the victim. Not they're going to investigate who shot her. The ICE agent shooting in the head 3 times. They're going to do why we need movements. You know why we need to stand up. Hakeem Jeffries was here Monday. Why we need to deal with this midterm election. Well, Reverend, I get calls on my radio show today. Well, I don't see where voting changed something. All right, let me tell you where, if they lose the Congress this year, where it changes. The Speaker would be Hakeem Jeffries, who grew up right here in Name, as he said on Monday. The Speaker decides then the calendar for the legislative session. The chairs of the committees become Democrats. So the Judiciary Committee, now watch this in the barbershop. The chair of the Judiciary Committee, y'all saw the Judiciary Committee have the hearing and brought in the special counsel yesterday. Well, the chair this time, if the Democrats win, would be a Democrat who could then subpoena the Attorney General Bondi, all of the folks that were involved in January 6th. They can subpoena the Vice President, all of them, because you've got the power of the gavel. Wonder why nobody has asked Pence how he felt running for his life January 6th. Well, if you get the Judiciary Committee, you can subpoena Pence.
This is a defining moment. As our world faces urgent challenges, the movement comes together. National Action Network's 35th anniversary and convention, April 8th through the 11th. Leaders, activists, and community voices united for justice and change. The moment is now. Be in the room.
Thing past hope. Because, I grew up, like I said, single mama on welfare. And my mother told me there's a part in life that hope's gonna run out. But she told me you got a double barrel in your engine. I said, what is that? She said, you can switch from hope to faith. Faith is a little deeper than hope. Bishop Hilliard is here. Faith is when hope runs out. Faith is the substance of things. Hope for the evidence of things not seen. Faith is when we were emancipated after 246 years of slavery and walked off the plantations with no education, no money, no future. And we built black churches and black colleges and black fraternities. We had faith. Faith made us stand up to the most powerful nation in the world and turn it around. Faith means we went from the back of the bus to the front of the White House. We come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord, trusting in His holy word. He never failed us yet.
It's time for a new course, a new coalition, a new leadership. Somebody got to rise above race, rise above sex. A new leadership, a choice, a chance. Don't pride by what you don't have, use what you got. Everybody in town was scared of Goliath. We got more and more folk and fewer services. We cannot stop, we got to rise on higher. Little David. Little David took off his unnecessary garments. Little David didn't want to get weighted down with a lot of foolishness. Little David took what God gave him, a slingshot, and a God biscuit, a rock.
Well, Reverend, it looks bad now. Look at Iran. Look at what's going on in Minnesota. Look on. Yeah, but I was raised by them to realize that after storms, if we do the right thing in the storm, if we organize, if we register, if we do what we're supposed to do, there's always a rainbow coming out. The rainbow don't show until the storm is over. The rainbow gonna come out in November. The rainbow gonna come out in 28. We gonna fix these tricks in 26 and march through the gates in 28. We didn't come this far to turn around now. We won't go back. We won't go back. We won't go back.
Reverend Sharpton, how do we begin to make peace with our past?
I don't think it's our obligation to make peace with our past. I think it's our obligation to learn from our past and to understand that soon we gonna be the past. I mean, a lot of us act like we gonna be permanent and that the past is the past. If we draw on the strengths of the past and uphold the dignity and the integrity of our people, and then perform it at our highest level in our generation, as Dr. Moss said, that's our obligation. You know, one of the reasons that I've been so concerned about this cultural tone that we're in now is a lot of us have lost the dignity that our community has shown from Jamestown to now. I've questioned some of the artists that no longer sing to uplift us. And there's never been a generation that didn't use our music and our culture to lift us up. And the excuse is where they say, well, we just want to show what's there. But we never just accepted what was there. We always looked at what was there and looked through it and brought our people the way it needed to be. So in slavery time, we were singing Go Down Moses and Swing Low Sweet Chariot. We wasn't singing about the cotton picking nigga in the field. That's what we saw, but that's not what we sang. In slavery, in segregation time, we were singing We Shall Overcome. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. We wasn't singing the hoe in the back of the bus. So where is this coming from? And that's what we need to challenge. I wish, all of this.
Reverend Al Sharpton, 1-877-532 5797, 1-877-532 5797. Let's go to Janet in Detroit, Michigan. Janet. Is Janet there?
Yes. Good afternoon, Reverend Al. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for taking my call. I go back a long way with you, Reverend Al.
All right.
A long way listening to you. I read, and I don't recall the source, and I wondered if you had read or heard Pam Bondi, Stephen Miller, and Pete Hegseth are living in military bases. They've left their apartment. I guess there's been threat against them. Have you heard that? Or was
No, I have not heard that. That's interesting. I will certainly look into that. You're saying Hegseth, Pam Bondi, and Stephen Miller?
Yes, they've left their homes, their apartments, and they're living now in the military bases, I guess, for safety or whatever. But they've been threatened, so they've left their homes. I don't know how true it is, and I just can't recall the source, but I read that a couple of days ago.
All right, I'm going to look that up. That's interesting. Thank you for your call.
It is interesting. They're safe, and we're out here. And I come from a military family. I have military in the family. And so Trump and his sons, they ought to go into the military like my family did.
Very much so. All right, I'm going to certainly check that out. Now, that's something we need to know about. Sterling Burgess is on our message board saying, when you call Rev, have your thoughts together. Why would you disparage Kamala Harris in that manner? Grow up. And I got a few other people very upset about the caller saying Kamala Harris sounds drunk. Again, I've known Kamala Harris since she ran for DA of San Francisco. I've never seen her. Not only I've never seen her drunk, I've never seen her. I don't believe I've ever seen her take a drink at even these political cocktail parties. People had the right on XL Friday to say things, but people have a right to call in or write in and contradict them too. It goes both ways. So if you say something, people got a right to come back and say, hey, I think that was wrong. I think that it goes with the territory. Let's go to Dantes in Cleveland, Ohio. Dantes, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
How you doing, Reverend Al Sharpton?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful in Cleveland, Ohio. The weather's feeling good right now.
That's great.
It's great weather right now. No snow and all that good stuff. So we're doing good up here, and National Action at Work is doing good up here, and we're doing what we got to do for our kids and everything else out here.
All right, well, that's good. Stuff. Thank you for your call.
That's right.
Let me go to Todd in Cleveland, Ohio. Todd.
Reverend Al Sharpton. So the percentage of homeowners of black people in the comparison to the percentage of white people that are homeowners from 1980 to the 1920 homeownership period. I want to go back to that conversation if you're open to that.
From what now? From 1980 back to 1920?
Using I did say 1920. I
meant you did. Okay. 2020. Okay, go ahead.
So here's where we were in 1980. The total population of black people from 1-year-old to 100-plus-year-old was 26 million. 3.7 million black people own homes in the United States in 1980, according to the U.S. Census, the Pew Research Institute, and 3 others that I don't have in front of me right now. I accept that as true. 3.7 million black people own homes in 1980. The average mortgage rate was 13%. In that same year, there were 181 million white people in the country and 115 million own homes. Okay? So now we move, and there was a total population of the country of 226, almost 227 million people. So we move forward to 2020. There's 339 million people in the country. 204 million are white. 151 million own homes. And there's approximately 46 million black people in the country. And this is important that I'm about to say this. About 5.8 million of those black people identify as being black and something else. That means they have a parent that's not black. So 41 million identifies as being black. But in that population, 6.3 million own homes. So yeah, the white population went up in numbers of home ownership. The black population stayed pretty close to the same. And the problem is, as it applies to the conversation yesterday, is what can be done or what needed to have been done to make sure that gap was better closed through government policy. So that's where we were yesterday. Now, I was going to get into where I believe the problem is that it's based with black folks in home ownership. But I wanted you to describe, where do you think the government needs to get involved in order to increase black home ownership, even though keep in mind that the percentage of ownership hasn't changed much for black folks. I think
first of all, I think you are confirming my point. That was a statement I made, that black ownership has not changed, or in fact, with the population increase, it's probably gone down, and that whites have gained. That was my point.
and I wasn't disputing that.
Okay.
At all. What I was pointing out was it's important that folks have the numbers that the percentages are based on, and that's why I gave you that before we got into this conversation. So what I wanted to know was, in your opinion, and by the way, don't just feel outstanding because you got more people registered. Feel justified. You got a credible organization, so feel justified that more people are registered in your existence. But going back to what we were talking about, where do you think government should be better involved in order to improve black home ownership in this country, or where do you think they should have been involved so that the gap actually was closing over these last 46 years? Or according to
well, I think government should be involved at various levels. One, I think at the federal level, that we ought to, since the banks, which gives a lot of the mortgages, are regulated by the federal government, the Congress could say that the banks must target how they are going to close this disparity and how they can actively seek credible applicants for home ownership in the black community and have set goals like they have in everything else in banking to make sure that they bring them up to par, whatever city or state it is. State government and city government can do the same thing. I think that government can set the marks that they want, the targets that they want to achieve to close the gap. It's going to take a conscious, proactive program to undo what is done, because clearly we are not seeing an institutional shift in what we ought to be seeing in order to deal with the institutional neglect. The reason I'm putting it that way is because it is my feeling that many banks and mortgage companies are still discriminatory against blacks based on race. And unless you have a proactive program to remedy that gap, I do not think that just leaving it to natural procedures is going to in any way expose, let alone stop them from discriminating against black applicants.
Do you count this as a bank contribution to what you want to get done? And I want to get done too. I mentioned that the average mortgage rate in 80 was 13%.
Right.
My mom paid 18%. She knocked hers out real quick, and my dad actually did pay 13%. He knocked his out real quick. They were homeowners at 79 and 77. And, but the banks now, the average mortgage rate is 6%. Do you think that's a contributor to helping ease the problem?
It could be, but again, I think that the fact that you have a reduced interest rate is good and raises the possibility. But if you still have institutions that look down on a certain race applying, you got to remember, even Donald Trump, who's the president of the United States now, they were found guilty by the Department of Justice in the 70s of writing C for colored on applications for apartments. Same is happening in real estate mortgage companies. Just hold on a minute, Todd, because I want to finish this. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Exhale Friday, 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Exhale Friday. Be right back.
Voting rights.
Everyone look here.
Say it again, Miss Pearl.
Voting rights. Voting rights.
One more time, Miss Pearl.
Voting rights.
There we go.
Voting rights. Voting rights. Voting rights. Voting rights. Voting rights. When do we want it? Now.
When do we need it?
Now.
Yesterday.
What do we want? Voting rights. When do we need it? Now. What do we want? Voting rights. When do we need it? Now.
Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president, but we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're gonna have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she believed in me enough to get at the end of the line and make me look good. Because Dr. King used to say, if you call a march and no one shows up, you just going for a walk. And I want to thank those that marched with me. 32 years ago, here in Los Angeles, we marched. And then many years later, with George Floyd and others, we're still marching. And I'm gonna keep marching, I'm gonna keep agitating, and I'm gonna keep going. Until we don't have to do it anymore. Eddie, known you a long time, Mariah, Chris and your kids. And I promise you this, the only thing that I really live for is I get up with this dream that every bigot, every racist, everyone in this country that hates will say, damn, he's up again.
So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed, I mean really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They call me everything but a child of God.
Racial discord, a blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
and I had to learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing and I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader. our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, to Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor State right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them, now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and the reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that I first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old, with the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
Keep the dream alive on Wall Street. It's been a long time coming, but I'm 1968. Dr. Martin Luther King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of National Action Network to always, in the month he was killed, let them know they killed the dreamer. Because I have a dream today. They can't kill the dream. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797, or you can go to the message page at nationalactionnetwork.net. One Dr. JCB is writing on the message page. Rev, to the caller's point, the New York Times and Yahoo News both reported 2 days ago that Pam Bondi was moved to a military base due to her handling of the Epstein files, and that she was being targeted reportedly by some drug cartels. So I'm gonna look into this. I was not aware of that, but I thank you, Doctor, for coming in with it. All right, let's go back to Todd. Todd, what I'm saying is that there are targeted there is targeted evidence of discrimination against black home buyers.
That's true.
And therefore there must be a targeted program to both gauge it and to alleviate it. Because without us having a program, and looking at the data, we will not know how it's being corrected.
These programs exist, and they've existed for the better part of 35 years. I'm aware of that, meaning that there are programs that, in 91, I'm wrapping it up at Morehouse. I'm in Atlanta, okay?
All right.
And I don't know the Citizens Trust in Wachovia sponsored these group sessions, but there were multiple members from those banks at these sessions where they were talking with people at group sessions on homeownership and financial literacy. So they were in black neighborhoods, and they were primarily black folks that were there. Some of us didn't have the money to buy a house. I wasn't really that particularly interested at the time, but I wanted to know something about how everything worked. So the banks were doing some of their part, and like I said, the mortgage rates are 6% now. They were 13% when my mom bought hers and my dad bought his. When my mom's rate was higher because she was a single black woman mother, so they stuck it to her a little bit. But I wanted to get to where I believe that the problem primarily is with black home ownership being so low in this country. Now, we're talking about 6.3 million people own as of 2020 versus 3.7 million of 1980. It's a financial literacy issue. And financial literacy should involve investing in the various ways to do that, and learning about mortgage rates before you even care about wanting to buy a home. And in Ohio, the state of Ohio, literacy is low in the black community in the taxpayer-funded neighborhood public schools. Ohio's did an assessment for kids going into kindergarten like every other public school systems in the country. And the last numbers they have in 2022, 82% of the black kids that were assessed weren't fully ready for kindergarten. Now, that's a parent problem. If you're not literate, it's going to be hard for you to become financially literate at a pace that keeps up with the speed of the economy. And they judge 4 categories. Their categories are math, of course, social foundations, meaning emotional readiness and things such as that, literacy and language, meaning you can speak and read something, you know the letters, then physical wellness and motor skills go together as one. And this is a problem. You have to, some of this is government, and some of this is not the black community needing to encourage themselves, and then consequently encourage the government, taxpayer-funded neighborhood public schools to encourage the kids from there. But if the parenting hasn't improved on these things prior to them getting into kindergarten, then it usually doesn't improve along the way. The library has this information for people to learn, but once those kids are out of school, the parents have to be willing to go to the library and get those books and get that data and go online and get that data and teach these people before they want to buy homes the value of home ownership and investing. So that's where government could be involved, but the parents in the neighborhoods have to be involved in pushing the government through the school system. And Ohio's pretty typical for the 4 federal districts, Federal Reserve districts that I pay attention to, Federal District 4, 5, 6, and 7, that's Cleveland, Chicago 7. Then Atlanta's 6, and Richmond, which covers Washington, D.C. included. It's pretty much the same. The kids aren't literate as they should be. Consequently, they don't become financial literate as they should be, or civically conscious literate as they should be. It's not just government working against the black community. It's the black community not working as well as they should for themselves to push government. You follow me?
I follow you, but again, I don't know how much government has really reached out and tried a program of explaining, of advertising, of marketing these available programs. I think you're right that there's some effort that's needed on our side, but I think it should be dealt with both ways.
Absolutely. But that's serious when the seventh biggest state in the country, the seventh most populous state in the country, has a population of children that are not ready for kindergarten, and they don't catch up. A lot of them, they get moved through. They pick up things along the way, but they don't catch up. You have to depend. The black community has to be better invested in the black community in order to close this gap. That is the truth. And the black community is not investing in the black community enough. And your organization promotes this gap being closed through what I'm talking about right now.
Oh, absolutely. It'll be a major part of the convention. All right. Thank you for your call. Let me go to Bernard Smith in Atlanta, Georgia.
Hello.
Yes. You're on the air.
This is Bernard Smith with the Wiseman Group. You patched me through, but then I got hung up on it.
All right. Thank you for your call. Hello? All right. He's listening to the radio. Let's go on to Ray in Cincinnati, Ohio. Ray? Is Ray there?
Yeah, I'm here now, Rev. Thanks for taking my call. You hear me okay?
I hear you fine.
Okay, Rev, I'm gonna say a couple things, and let me know if I'm way off base. As far as Donald Trump is destroying this country, food is up, gas is up, the economy is bad, healthcare is going through the roof. When he was here in Cincinnati the other day, and then he went to Kentucky, he was in this natural element, a rally style type. He's more comfortable at a rally style than he is in the White House. Another thing, did you hear anything about Target? One group saying boycott's over, another group saying it's still on. I could care less. They took away DEI. It wouldn't bother me if they go under.
Yeah, well, I got a call on there yesterday. And I said the people that called the original boycott out of Minneapolis, Ms. Armstrong and them, I'm supporting until they say that they have stopped the boycott, and that Target has said that they are rescinding their no DEI policy, and these are the specific things they're doing. That National Action Network is continuing to support the boycott. There seems to be some arguments on other sides of this or that. I don't want to get into personalities. The fact of the matter is that these people started it, Nakia and them, and it was around DEI. And what is missing in all of this back and forth, and I'm not going to get into who shot John or who's saying this and that on social media, is we've not heard from Target addressing that they are no longer going to stop their commitment to end DEI and specifically what they're going to do. Everybody's talking about Target. And I've never seen or been involved in entering a boycott where the people you boycott never make a public statement of commitment.
Yeah. Now you could throw millions of dollars into a HBCU college, but you don't bring back DEI. No, but Rev, this is going to trip you out. Now, Donald Trump's cabinet, they licked his boots, they bent the knee, they bowed to him, and they kissed the ring. But I have never seen a guy named Donald Trump, when he says you got to wear these shoes, these Floyd-some shoes, to a cabinet meeting, and they all did it. That takes the cake, Rev. That takes the cake. You gonna make your cabinet wear shoes you bought them? Did you see that picture?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's ridiculous. That is about the biggest butt kissing thing I've ever seen. And a lot of those shoes don't even fit. Now, when it comes to Jasmine Crockett, would you say that the primary goal now is to get that guy who beat her elected? Have Crockett, however way she want to do it, have her supporters switch from her to the opponent that won. You know, and I hope she does that, because the most important thing is that seat in Texas. Thank you, Rev.
I think that the seat in Texas is extremely important. Thank you for your call. Let me go to Joe in Ohio. Joe.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I do hear
Hey,
you.
Reverend Al, can you hear me?
Yes, I do hear
How
you.
you doing, sir?
Fine.
How you doing, sir? You're I got a lot of respect for you.
Thank you.
And Jesse, I have a lot of respect for Jesse. I've been trying to teach a lot of youth about you and him. I ask them, do they know y'all? And when they don't, I give them an assignment. But Reverend Al, I was calling about that guy Todd. I hear all this knowledge, and he challenges you and Miss Austin. But I wonder, how is he really contributing with all this knowledge? Is he a politician here in Ohio? I'm from Cleveland through the South, and I don't know of him as a politician. So how is he helping besides just coming to you with this knowledge? And can I have a little conversation with you about that?
I mean, you go ahead. I'm listening. I have no idea.
I don't understand. I mean, is he a politician here in Ohio? Cause
I have no idea. I only know Todd from the call-ins on the radio show, particularly on what do you call it, on our Thursdays, policy day. So I've never asked him that. It's a good question.
Well, what is all this policy history and knowledge that he researches and spreads on your show? How is he implementing this for the betterment of anybody in Cleveland, anybody in Columbus, anybody in Cincinnati? I don't get it. And then there's another caller that does the same thing from Cincinnati. Then how are they contributing? I know I'm doing my part, but it ain't that big, Reverend Al.
Yeah, well, as long as you're doing your part, and I think it's a legitimate question. Thank you for your call. I hope when they call me again, they will answer it. That's a very good call. Thank you. Let's take a break. Be right back. Sharpton, be right back. Keep it real.
National Action Network. Power in action. 35 years of justice, impact, and purpose.
Wow. This is the Saturday after I had done 90 days in federal jail for leading a protest in Vieques, Puerto Rico. And I had went down to join Latino activists that were against the Navy bombings that was exercising Navy bombings that was causing asthma and health effects among the children there. And I was on my way to Saturday rally one Saturday, and I said, if they're going down there protesting that, and they were protesters, they would go out in the Navy base in the field and lay down, and they'd arrest them for being on federal property. And if they were doing that, then I would join them, because many of the Latino leaders went to jail with us protesting Amadou Diallo. I ended up having to do 90 days in federal jail. They transferred me from the federal prison in Puerto Rico. Me and 3 others that went, they only got 40 days. They said because I'd had a long sheet that it was of many other civil rights arrests. They gave me 90 days. I had to do 50 by myself. When I got out and went to the Saturday rally, Stephanie Mills, who we'd known each other since we were kids, she was there and sang at the rally that Saturday. That's her singing Home, as soon as I get home. One, she knew I loved the song, but two, it was appropriate because I was coming home. And we won that. They closed the Navy base in Vieques, Puerto Rico. You go there now, there's buildings and condos and a little plaque for the four of us. They call the Vieques Four. Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton time. It's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. You need to keep it real with Reverend Al Sharpton right here on Uber TV. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is. Every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, to call in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Sharpton.
Happy 20th anniversary to Reverend Al Sharpton on 20 years of Keeping It Real. 2 decades of truth-telling, fearless advocacy, and keeping the people informed and empowered. Thank you for always speaking power to justice and standing firm for what's right. Here's to 20 years of impact and many more to come.
Robert Culp used to do a show with Bill Cosby, I Spy, and he did a documentary on breadbasket, Robert Culp.
Oh, wow.
You need to see that documentary. It's great.
Absolutely.
I lived this. I didn't read this. I was there.
You true to this?
I'm true to this.
Not new to this.
I ain't new to this.
Vote to phone Troy.
He was, Jack O'Dell was one of the guys that Kennedy warned Dr. King about. Say he was a communist. Jack O'Dell and Stanley Leverson. And Reverend brought him in. Nobody else in the movement would deal with Jack. Reverend brought him in.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Just her.
Just her.
But there's stories behind all of it. It didn't just happen.
But I am somebody. I may be on welfare, but I am somebody. I may be in jail, but I am somebody. I may be an educator, but I am somebody. I am black, beautiful, proud. I must be respected. I must be protected. I am somebody.
Come today. I see the Reverend Jesse Jackson is here. Lord, we thank you for the Reverend Jesse Jackson. I see the Honorable Maxine Waters is here. We thank for Maxine Waters. We see the Reverend Al Sharpton is here. We thank
And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes Blacks. We don't want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight with the courts and the streets, because they are literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunities, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, in which they did, started in Harvard with a Black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, 1-877-532-5797. Don't forget, Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. And again, I'm going to have on, I'm really worked hard getting the right guests. I want to deal first, of course, with what the whole Iran thing really is. I have one of the leading congressmen of the Intelligence Committee on to ask about Iran and, of course, about these attacks here in the country and what is the whole purpose of it, why they're spending this kind of money. I'm going to have on the Black Democrat that came out with more votes than anyone in Marjorie Taylor Greene's primary for her seat this week, and how he intends to win the runoff since he came out ahead of all the Republicans. I'm going to have him on. I'm also going to have the executive vice president of the TSA Council, these workers that are now not getting paid, and how they're dealing with it and how they are dealing with the whole bill that is being held up in terms of trying to fund the government and take the whole deadlock off, and what they're organizing around. I'm going to have Jim Clyburn on this weekend, who just announced he's running for re-election, even at 85. Let him tell why. And I'm going to have on some of the entertainment journalists about where are we now after Nan and others had dealt with the Oscars, the Academy Awards, which is Sunday. where are we now in terms of black inclusion after our drives around Oscar So White. All right, let's go to Bernard Smith in Atlanta, Georgia. Bernard.
Hey, Al, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, sir. My name is Bernard Smith. I went to Morehouse College, class of 2003. I've been trying to reach you for quite some time, sir. I chair an organization called the Wiseman Group. The Wiseman Group has been around for about 13 years now. It's a political party for Christians and believers in Christ founded in our community. It is going to bring kingdom on the earth, here to the earth. And that's what our goal is. We've been in isolation for about 12 years now, waiting on the climate here in America to get to where it is now and around the world. Now's our time. Per the Obama administration, we were top secret for a long time. President Trump was not to know about who we were. I warned President Obama way back then who Donald Trump was. He is the Antichrist. He's working with the Antichrist right now. If you look at the world from the spirit realm, where I tend to see things, for the past 50 years, the devil has been raising kingdoms for the occult. That's what Putin is to Russia. That's what Xi is to China. That's what Kim Jong-un is to Korea. That's what the Vatican is. The Pope is to the Vatican. That's what Netanyahu is to Israel. The true Jews are us Black Americans. We were kidnapped and sold off as slaves, and the whole region was gentrified by imposters. That's why they call themselves Jewish and not Jew. The point that I'm trying to make is God is ready to come back. He's ready to come back right now, but his bride is not ready.
All right.
He sent us what's called the proof. He sent us what's called the proof.
All right. Thank you for your call. Let's go to Still Bill in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Let's go and take a break, sir. Let's take a break.
I'm sorry. Let me take my break. I'll come right back to Still Bill and the rest of the callers. And again, everybody, this is XL Friday. Everybody has the right to say what they believe needs to be said. I give everybody the mic and let them exhale. And again, when somebody states something of their religious beliefs, I don't contradict people's religious beliefs as long as they don't contradict mine. We all have our way of worship. As long as we respect each other, I don't have a problem with that. But if you have an attack on mine, then I'm going to keep it real on yours. Let's take a break. Be right back. Sharpton, keeping it real. XL Friday.
Time is up.
No justice! No justice! 62 years ago today, Martin marched in Washington. 62 years later, the dream is not dead.
I'm here because I must be here. Democracy is not there for the pig, and you have to fight for democracy. That's what it is. What Trump will erase, we will replace.
Is the dreamers in many cases have reversed and tried to turn it into a nightmare. We come to Wall Street rather than Washington this year to let them know you can try to turn back the clock, but you can't turn back time. We gonna keep the dream alive on Wall Street.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
In Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of National Action Network to always, in the month he was killed, to let them know they killed the dreamer.
Because I have a dream today.
And they can't kill the dreamer. Hi, it's Reverend Al Sharpton, President and founder of National Action Network. We are at the very end of 2025, and I want to first say that I want to thank all of the officers, chapter leaders, regional directors, national staff, and certainly National Board of National Action Network for a solid and absolutely incredible year in 2025. Despite the fact that we are under assault, voting rights, diversity, equity, and inclusion, the battles globally where we're seeing Nigeria and Venezuela attacked, and on and on and on. We have been steadfast as an activist organization in the tradition of Dr. King. We started the year with a national call that thousands responded to, and we were in Washington on our side of town while Trump was being inaugurated on the other side of town. And we made a pledge. We told people to lift their hand and make the pledge. And we kept that pledge to work all year to keep the dream alive. And that led into when Trump went after DEI, we supported some that were boycotting, and we started boycotting, something that had never happened. We said we're going to go buy from those that have committed to keep DEI, and went in several cities around Costco's and Sharpton. We've now bought stock in other companies. We're going to shareholder meeting and demand they continue DEI. We've had a sensational national action network convention covering the span of activity from political empowerment. Let's go to Still Bill in Cincinnati, Ohio. Still Bill, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
This is the day the Lord has made, and I rejoice and be glad in it. Good afternoon, Reverend. I apologize for the inconvenience. I'm dealing with a lot of distractions, but I want to congratulate you on your 20 years of the show, Keeping It Real. I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah. It's been 20 years. February 1st was 20 years, and March really was the incorporation. 35 years of NAN. I've been out here a long time. 15 years in August doing Politics Nation on MSNBC, which is now MS Now. So that's why, that's why Still Bill, I hear a lot of hollering and screaming and new waves and people hot for a minute, and I'm going to do this, that, and I've seen a lot of things come and go. I don't get excited. I look for who going to be the long distance runners.
Well, I try to, understand the situations of distractions and everything, but I try to be like you, Reverend Al, with the 3 C's. Cool, calm, and collected. I mean,
I like that.
You have a way of putting people in their place when they get out of line and everything. And, I respect you for that. But I just wanted to congratulate you on your 20 years. I started listening to you, 2018. My ordeal with my foot. See, I caught a foot infection, which resulted in having 5 operations, but I still have my foot. I just don't have no toes. But, God is good.
That's right.
And you are good. I just wanted to just congratulate you on your 20 years. And I was hoping that I would run into your daughter. In the meantime, I'm going to cut it loose because you got more callers. And to Dominique, I will keep it real.
Keep it real. Keep it real. All right. I'm glad that you've been with us. Stay with us since 2019. Let's go to Raj in Cleveland, Ohio, WERE. Raj.
Hey, Reverend.
Hey.
Hey, Reverend, thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for calling.
Hey, see, I heard the call with Todd about the mortgages and the mortgage rates and financial literacy and the government helping out, the citizens. And I guess, he was more or less referring to blacks and their education, in terms of financial literacy and all that. But all that is very vital to that direction of home ownership and wealth. But this is like a long-running strategic plan by the GOP, which goes back. First of all, it's also tied into the GOP working for the corporations. They doing the bidding of the corporations. That's why these super PACs exist in the first place, because they've been co-opted and sort of hijacked.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, you'd blanked out for a minute. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, when they first passed the bill, the law back in the 70s, so that these super PACs can exist, and that was for the corporations to manipulate the body politic, especially the GOP. Now, with that being said, I remember Elizabeth Warren. She was questioning in the Senate hearings. She was questioning Ben Carson when he was head of HUD under Trump, and she asked him, why hasn't the wealth gap closed in 50 years? Because from 1968 to even now, the home ownership and from white to black ratio is primarily the same. It's like 72 to 48, 72% for white, 48% of the black. Now, that was at that time when she was questioning him, that had been like over 50 years. So she was asking him why not. He couldn't answer. Only thing he says that she finally backed him far enough in the corner where he just admitted that the corporations didn't want to pay to have the investigation going, and so Congress never did it. And she asked him how much would it cost, and he said he replied with $130,000. And so, and so, which it was obvious Trump put Carson there to dismantle HUD for what it's worth, and they had no intentions of closing the wealth gap. And it took Kamala Harris to come along on her campaign, and she promised that she would offer $25,000 for first-time home ownership towards a down payment or whatever, and all these podcast bros, they pretty much brainwashed. Well, they already had the races in their pocket, but a lot of the blacks, they was repeating what they heard the Joe Rogans of the world and the Theo Vaughns and them saying, "Oh yeah, Kamala Harris, she's talking mumbo jumbo," and I heard other blacks saying that same thing, like, "I'm not gonna vote for her." And I asked them, "Did you hear her campaign speech?" They all said no. I even know a Puerto Rican that said that, and she was all for Trump. This was just last summer. I asked her, "Did you hear her speech?" "No." "But how you know she's speaking mumbo jumbo?" And I used to hear on right wing radio they were saying that during her speech, and even after the election was over. So they're just repeating. That's how I know a lot of these people repeating what they heard. But they missed everything that Kamala said. They did it. It was the same thing with Hillary. They put all this negative press on Hillary, and she was pushing for corporations to, just like Obama, to give out scholarships, more scholarships programs to graduating students. But that's that whole thing. Yeah, what Todd is saying in this case, in normal times, that would be the big picture. But in this case, that's the small picture, because the GOP, with Trump in charge and all his minions, doing his bidding, they have no intentions of helping closing the wealth gap or even distributing money out to anything that has to do with public services and public funding. Trump didn't pass, and I told people this as soon as he got in office in 2016. I say he's not going to pass the infrastructure bill. He dodged that twice.
Right.
The opportunity to do that.
And see, one of the reasons, just so the listeners can understand that you and I are not just grabbing things out of the sky, is that anytime the government wants to repair damages done in an institutional way, and home ownership goes through institutional mortgage companies or banks or lending companies. When they want to correct it, they set target goals and have those industries work toward those goals. Those goals were never set, have not been set, And now with Trump coming in, doing everything he can from ending DI and others, is going to impact even worse. And let me give you an example. The same Trump and Trump allies that would say that, oh, Sharpton and them is just trying to ask for something that is out of bounds, to have target to increase black home ownership or black wealth. Well, then why did you all go and bring in whites from South Africa who claimed they were being harassed in South Africa? So you can have an affirmative program for white South Africans. And by the way, one of them was in the papers this morning saying he was going back home because Trump's America is too violent and divisive for him. One of them is going back home. But you can have a program for white South Africans, but you can't have a program for blacks here in the country that have been discriminated against by this government and by industry, and the sitting president has a convicted record of that in the courts brought by the Justice Department in the 70s when the Republicans had the White House.
Yeah, and Reb, you know, real quick, I want to add this. Now, his Treasury Secretary in his first term was Steve Mnuchin.
Right.
Steve Mnuchin worked as in the mortgage department for Goldman Sachs, who got caught up in a scandal, a big, huge scandal, and none of those executives ever paid, you know, the price penalty, you know, punitive price for doing, you know, undermining their investors. And here it is, Trump hired him on as his into his economic department as one of his advisors, and that right there told me he had no intentions of if anything, he was there to help Trump wreck and pillage the funding out of the at least the public side of any funding, public funding, I should say, which was totally undoing everything Obama had put in place, and so, you know, so that just told me. And then here's Steve Mnuchin, same guy, when the Democrats wanted to give $2,000 to that stimulus payout, Steve Mnuchin cut it and said no, give him $1,400.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the second time they wanted to give $1,200, he said no, $600.
Right. Both times. You're exactly right. You're right on point. Thank you for your call. Let me take my break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real, keeping it real, keeping it real. Exhale Friday. Sharpton. Be right back.
Breaking news.
Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. We are in critical times. Healthcare premiums are going up, oil and gas going up, all kinds of things that are costing us what we are comfortable to or what we were getting by. That's why I am asking you to be at the National Action Network Convention, where we're going to have leading political figures, leading civil rights leaders, leading activists, leading faith leaders, leading youth activists convene at the National Action Network Convention April the 8th through the 11th, where we are going to strategize, hear the plenary sessions, question, and come out with how we back up this whole retrenchment of our rights and our ability to live. It's not just about rhetoric, it's about a strategy and get results. That's why we in National Action Network have always been on the front line, and we need you with us more now than ever. To register, all of our sessions are free. All of our sessions are free. To register, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net or call the toll-free number 1-877-626-4651. Don't worry about how tough they are. Worry about how tough we must become. We never had a victory without a fight. It's time to strategize and fight back. Hi, it's Reverend Al Sharpton, President and founder of National Action Network. We are at the very end of 2025, and I want to first say that I want to thank all of the officers, chapter leaders, regional directors, national staff, and certainly National Board of National Action Network for a solid and absolutely incredible year in 2025. Despite the fact that we are under assault, voting rights, diversity, equity, and inclusion, the battles globally where we're seeing Nigeria and Venezuela attacked, and on and on and on. We have been steadfast as an activist organization in the tradition of Dr. King. We started the year with a national call that thousands responded to, and we were in Washington on our side of town while Trump was being inaugurated on the other side of town. And we made a pledge. We told people to lift their hand and make the pledge. And we kept that pledge to work all year to keep the dream alive. And that led into when Trump went after DEI, we supported some that were boycotting, and we started boycotting
something that had never happened. We said we're going to go buy from those that have committed to keep DEI, and went in several cities around Costco's and Sharpton. We've now bought stock in other companies. We're going to shareholder meeting and demand they continue DEI. We've had a sensational National Action Network convention covering the span of activity, from political empowerment to education, to how we deal with the black church, how we deal with black women development that has to deal with both discrimination based on gender and race. And of course, we came to Wall Street by the thousands and marched in late summer on the anniversary of the March on Washington. And people thought you could not get people out, and they came from all over the country. And we marched on Wall Street and had an enormous turnout. The only mass black march, black-led march this year. We had a lot of protests, a lot of marches. I salute all No Kings marches and all. But the black organization march, it welcomed everybody. We had white, black, everybody there. Was our march on Wall Street in August. And then our Triumph Award, and on into our fall agenda of organizing, mobilizing. We've expanded. We've started chapters in about 12 new cities. So I am proud of what we've done this year, but it's only the beginning, because our very rights are under attack, and they're not even being quiet about it. They want to revoke the Voting Rights Act. Section 2 may fall with this agreement. They want to end the Civil Rights Act of 64. That's what the end of DEI is about. So let us be more alert and active than ever. History will decide whether the civil rights gains of the 50s and 60s died in the 2020s. That's on your watch and mine. So if we've got to march, we have to protest, we have to lobby, we have to rally, whatever we need to do, we need to put our shoulder to the wheel more than ever. I'm going to lay out a plan on King Day, both in Harlem at our annual event and in Washington at our annual Martin Luther King Day breakfast that we do in D.C., we do cities that day. And then, of course, all roads lead to New York paper for our convention. We had, as I said, the largest attendance convention last year in 2025. It needs to be more this year because our very existence is at stake. We also are closing our negotiations on a new headquarters, our national headquarters that befit our mission. I'm so excited about it.
Keeping it real, I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. It's Exhale Friday, 1-877-532-5797. Let's go to Cynthia in South Carolina. Cynthia.
Yeah, good afternoon, Reverend Al. How are you this afternoon?
I'm doing well.
That's good. How many years were you on WWRL in New York City?
Huh? I didn't hear you.
How many years were you on WWRL?
Oh, wow. I can't even remember. Probably about 12.
Well, I will listen to you since then.
Wow.
12 years plus 20, so that's 32 years.
That's right. That's right.
And all. Yeah, I was calling reference to Iran. United States created that war of a lie about nuclear weapons when they eliminate last year, stated they hit 3 sites and they blew it up. Now this year they come with another lie about they building the bombs and all. And the supreme leader say he's not interested in having nuclear weapons on his soil. So the lie that America trying to use nuclear weapons is not that, it's uranium. It's not that. America and Israel want to take off the whole Middle East, and it's not going to be done. America might as well be prepared because they when a war gets full with other nations coming in, America will have a lot of body bags coming back here because they think they're going to take over Iran, and they stupid to think so because they don't know the history of the Persian people. They need to read about the Persians. And they're not going to let United States dictate to them and tell them what to do. You cannot be a bully in the world and think people are supposed to comply to your rules and all. They have done the same thing. England was destroyed the same way. The Roman Empire, America's next. Their empire is going to be destroyed the same way. So they think that because they got weapons and all that, nobody can conquer them. No one has the power to eliminate them, but they're wrong because Iran is out there. They're a strong country out there, and they will take care of the United States and Israel. They're showing that now, what they are capable of doing. America thought they was a joke, but now they see they are the joke in that region. So they might as well get along with people because you're not going to change the world, and you want to control the petrodollar. You want people to use your money, but yet you sanction other countries, and they don't have medical care. A lot of them don't have medicine. They don't have food. Cuba, what they've done in Cuba for 60-some years is a disgrace. And they come after that, they go to Turkey and Cuba. That's what they think because they're going to end their criminal ring right there in Iran. So I'm betting on Iran coming out there stronger than what America came in there. America will be the weakest link. So I put my money on Iran instead of the United States.
All right. Well, we're going to see where it goes. Thank you for your call. Very interesting information, though. Let me go to Terry in Washington, D.C. Terry.
Good afternoon, Rev. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. I just wanted to, I got one comment, but I wanted to kind of tack on to comments a couple of your other previous callers just made. Next time you listen to or hear from Still Bill, you may want to correct him, and he hasn't really, I guess, got out and gone to the movies or watched TV, things that are on there. Because if he did, he would know that the opposite side of your mild-manneredness is the loudmouth. You know when to bite back.
Right.
And I don't think he's seen you bite back.
Well,
but
he should stay tuned. It comes up when necessary.
Yes. In regards to those shoes that Trump bought for all of his minions, I guess you want to call them, they're jackboots, to make him or them march in line with him. And basically, who knows, they could be like those shoes that they use in a comedy show about spies, where they've got some sort of a tracking device in the heel where he knows where they are.
Wow.
Wow. You never know. Anytime you buy shoes like that.
Wow.
And one picture I seen that the comedians showed this week was the fact that one of the guy's shoes was so big there was a gap between his heel and the heel of the shoe.
Right. I saw that.
Bought them all shoes. Yeah. I just thought that is weird, and that's making everyone walk lockstep in guard with that. The other thing I wanted to say was, do you know who Scott Turner is?
No, Scott Turner. Why is that familiar?
He's the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development.
Yeah. He's the only black in the cabinet, right?
Exactly. No one knows who he is. I asked many of my brothers and sisters, and they're like, who is he? Who's that? Some people say, oh, he's a football player. I said, yeah, he was a football player, but he's now the secretary. And he's, there are a lot of the issues that he could be handling now, but he's not.
And the fact that we don't even know who he is, the general public. I do civil rights radio and TV every day, and I knew the name, but I couldn't place him. Shows you how inconspicuous he's been on a vital issue.
Yep. He's got him in there as a figurehead. He's put him in the closet, and he's probably just told him, you just sit there and do nothing.
I wonder if he got any shoes even.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, exactly. So that's just one that I wanted to bring up to you to just say that no one knows who he is, yet there are tons of issues he should be handling, but they won't give him a thing to do.
All right. Thank you for your call. And for you that don't know what I was saying, what he was raising was that Trump has been now reported to be giving gifts to some of his staff and cabinet members of shoes and other items. So I was saying I wonder if he gave his HUD secretary, the only black on the cabinet, whether he got any shoes. It's interesting because one of the recipients, they were laughing at the shoes was way too big for him, but he knew all of them wear them around Trump, showing their appreciation he gave them. So if you're on the staff or in the cabinet, you go to work every day with his shoes on so he can see that what he gave you, you're wearing. I mean, that is the ultimate narcissism and insecurity. It really is crazy. On the message board, I see James Mitchell said, my first march with Reverend Al was in 1989 over the brutal murder of young Yusef Hawkins in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. That's correct. 89 we marched. Yusef was killed in 89 in the summer, in August. And we marched until we got 3 of those kids, white young kids, indicted and convicted. That was Bensonhurst. It was Jimmy Farmer and them, I think is the name of the sentence. We got them convicted. March out there. I got stabbed leading one of those marches. One of the white racists run through the crowd and stabbed me. So you are absolutely right about that. It was in that period, 89, where we marched until 91, when I started National Action Network in 91. So he is correct on the timeline. It's a long time. Olivia Taylor saying Nan is 35 years strong, but Reverend Sharpton has been on the battlefield long before it was established. Slave theater, slave theater was 80, 87, 88. And you're right. But I was the youth director of Operation Breadbasket in New York in 69 when I was just 13 years old. So we've been out here a long time. That's why I don't get too excited and I don't get too depressed. You learn how to take your highs and your lows with equilibrium, because if you've been out here long enough, you've seen a lot of good days and bad days, and you know they'll even out. Evangelist Ramsey says, good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton. How we doing? Congratulations to 20-plus years on the radio, and those haters said you wouldn't last a month. Liar, liar, pants on fire. All right, Evangelist Ramsey, a great activist, and she's right. They predicted that the radio show wouldn't last 20 years, that the television show certainly wouldn't last 15 years in August. Well, they didn't project that I'd even be still out here this long. I ain't talking about in the public, I'm talking about alive. They buried me 40 times, but if God be for you, it's more than the whole world against you. And I believe what I'm doing is what God wants me to do. Let's go to Terraza in New York City. Terraza. Is Terraza there?
Yes, it's Teresa.
Teresa,
Reverend.
All right,
Hello.
Teresa.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I am excited to speak with you, Mr. Reverend Al Sharpton. You are a pillar in our community, and we highly admire you and everything that you do for us.
Oh, thank you.
I'm calling not with an issue about, the government. I mean, it's a part of that as well, but it's mainly an issue that we're having as a black community as far as foster care and our children being what it appears to look like is trafficked off. It's just really bad, especially in New York City. We have a lot of families that are fighting for their children, and, they're getting the butt end of the stick. They're doing what they need to do. They're completing it's like a list of things that's required to, get your children back. You have a lot of families that, because we are low income, we don't have the resources like, predominantly white communities or like higher up black people. We're ghetto, poor black ghetto families, and it feels like they're targeting us, instead of giving us the resources that we need, they are just taking away our children altogether. And aside from what we see, in person, I feel like it's a much deeper scenario happening with the system all in itself, even down to with Trump. You know, I don't know if you know about the Epstein list and what's going on, and children are being trafficked, were being trafficked through multiple countries. A lot of these children are coming from foster care homes, you know. So I feel like this is a big thing that us as a community, you know, someone has to stand up for us. I'm only one person, and I'm doing this for multiple families that are in, like, situations just like mine. And I feel like you would be the best person to stand up for us, as we don't have voices like you.
No, I think that this is a vital issue in our community. Let me have our producer pick her up and get her information, give it directly to me. We need to talk to her and see how we can amplify this issue and weigh in heavily. I think it is important. And she is absolutely right. A person stopped me not long ago in the street here in New York and was talking about how they're just trafficking these young people in foster care and nobody cares about them. That is a civil rights issue. I definitely want to work with her. Get her information directly to me. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special, special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president. But we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're going to have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she believed in me enough to get at the end of the line and make me look good. Because Dr. King used to say, if you call a march and no one shows up, you just going for a walk. And I want to thank those that marched with me. 32 years ago, here in Los Angeles, we marched. And then many years later, with George Floyd and others, we're still marching. And I'm going to keep marching. I'm going to keep agitating. And I'm going to keep going. Until we don't have to do it anymore. Eddie, known you a long time. Mariah, Chris, and your kids. And I promise you this. The only thing that I really live for is I get up with this dream that every bigot, every racist, everyone in this country that hates will say, damn, he's up again. I had a thought this morning that I wanted to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors. But there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones.
And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talents in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones, and too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their own, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about it is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughter started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself. Thank God I was blessed to have both in my life. Both historic, strong figures. But if I misused them and listened to not only figures that are not as historic as them, but figures that had nothing to do with the calling and purpose of my life, I would live confused. I'd be double-minded. I'm clear. And what I want you to do is be clear. Clear on who you are and why you are. And a lot of that will be exposed to you and others by who you are around and who you allow to enter your head. Keep people at a distance that only have a distant and unclear vision who you are and who you are supposed to be. They could be your blood relatives, but they could not be the ones that accompany you toward what you ought to be about tonight. Everybody good to you ain't good for you. Everybody that makes you laugh sometimes end up making you a joke.
You're live.
Keeping it real.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can go on our message board at www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Anita Bracey on our message board says, Reverend Al, we are celebrating a lot. Your anniversaries. Today is my birthday. Well, happy birthday, Anita Bracey. I was your Twitter friend, like Apple, when I listened to your show on WAOK in Atlanta when I moved to Georgia 20 years ago. Wow. I love it. Thank you for your call. Anita Bracey says, I marched with you in Gina, Sanford, Florida, Atlanta, and Selma. My sister and I came to New York for your convention. I also marched for you when the local station took you and Warren Ballantyne off there. That goes back some when Warren was on. Well, you've been a real trooper, Anita. We need to stay with us. I hope you come up to the convention and let me see you, since we've been friends through the airwaves and on social media. Come on up to the convention. Just tell them that Reverend Al said he wants to see me face to face. I think they've got some coming out of the Atlanta office, in fact. But I'm glad to hear from you. And it does warm my heart and encourage a lot of people when we talk about how long we've been out here, because, nobody does this long unless they believe in it. It doesn't mean everybody got to believe it, and doesn't mean everybody agree with me, but at least give me and others long-distance runners, like my mentor, Reverend Jackson, who lasted out there on the front lines all them years, at least give them respect, those of us that do that we believe in what we're doing. I remember that in 2007, when Kathy Hughes bought the contract for some whites that had signed me to do a radio show for them. And Kathy Hughes, she bought the contract and started this show 20 years ago, in 2006, really. And then a lot of people said then, well, he got a radio show, he ain't gonna be leading no marches, ain't doing nothing no more. Well, since 2006, we did everything from Trayvon through Michael Brown, through Eric Garner, through Ahmaud Arbery, to George Floyd, you name it. And they sure said after 2011, when I got the television show, he won't be at the Saturday rallies. He ain't going to do the. I've been at just about every Saturday rally. Tactics, some of their theology, some of their ideology. But if they have been in it for decades, I respect them for doing something that they believe in and sticking with it. I think they earn that respect. And I think that is something we ought to teach in our community, That's why this whole thing of disrespect the elders and the old guard needs to sit down, all this around Jim Clyburn. No, I think that there is absolutely a time to have the young people emerge. But the young people that emerge should emerge showing regard and respect for those that they have come behind, not trying to call on them to step aside for them. First of all, let me tell you something between me and you. If somebody got to step aside for you to be where you need to be, you don't have it in the first place. Nobody stepped aside for Dr. King. He took his position and it emerged on his own. Nobody stepped aside for Reverend Jackson. Nobody stepped aside for me. So all this step aside stuff just shows me that who's talking is incompetent. Fred in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. You're keeping it real with Al Sharpton. Is Fred there?
Hey, Reverend Al, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. First, just a couple of things. First, and I'm not sure because basically our media is not on a lot for whatever reason. But, when it comes to Iran, because I watch the BBC News sometimes and everything, they don't make mention that his mother and, not only was the father, but his mother and his wife were also killed in that incident. So for this to come to peace at any quick term is not going to happen because the Iranian government, their religious belief is strongly tied to their political.
Right.
This is not some easy war. Second thing, but you don't hear about that his mother and wife were killed in that bombing. The other thing, I just want to thank you because, I did get a chance to call last week, but your talk at Reverend Jackson's funeral, this is what Reverend Jackson will want. The criticism, that's just like when somebody passed away, you have ministry that, hey, this is their first time that some people come to church or whatever to hear the message, to bring them to church. So this is Jesse Jackson's message to you and to the world that, hey, we got to keep fighting for civil rights to everybody.
Right.
And then just, the last thing I was going to say, and you may already have this in the works or whatever, but something that just like it came because I know the campaign was, a short time for Vice President Harris, but when D.L. Hughley, Benjamin Crump, and a few others got together to, blast the misinformation about her record when it came to prosecution, if there's something between Eric Holder, Jasmine Crockett, and Crump, whoever else, if there's civil rights leaders that are prominent that can affect the Hispanic community, white community, to come together if they do a virtual meeting or.
I like that. I like that, Fred. Thank you for your call. I hear the music. I'm going to take my break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes Blacks. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight in the courts and the streets, because they're literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunities, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they did, started at Harvard with a black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, the ACP would have been working together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation. Then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back in this stuff. Hello, New Orleans. Let me tell you straight. They did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising, but one black man, Rich New Dennis, said, I don't care. My families come together every 4th of July weekend, and Essence will happen, because that's who we are. Give a big hand to Rich New Dennis for bringing us back. Why do we come? Because the essence of who we are is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased out. We don't care who's in the White House. We will organize our house by house. We came over the Middle Passage. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. Don't you give up now. Don't you turn back now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Reclaim your dignity. Reclaim your place. So we stand with the Global Black Economic Forum. We stand with Essence Magazine because that's who we are. So don't give in now. Yes, it's some rough days, but we've been through rougher days than this. Yes, Trump is a bad dude, but we beat badder dudes than Trump. So let's party with a purpose, because our rhythm and our music reminds us who we are, because we can smile through our pain and organize for our gain. Let's stand up and let's celebrate who we are. Thank you, God bless you. Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. We are in critical times. Healthcare premiums are going up, oil and gas going up, all kinds of things that are costing us what we are comfortable to or what we were getting by. That's why I am asking you to be at the National Action Network Convention, where we're going to have leading political figures, leading civil rights leaders, leading activists, leading faith leaders,
leading youth activists convene at the National Action Network Convention April the 8th through the 11th, where we are going to strategize, hear the plenary sessions, question, and come out with how we back up this whole retrenchment of our rights and our ability to live. It's not just about rhetoric, it's about a strategy and get results. That's why we in National Action Network have always been on the front line, and we need you with us more now than ever. To register, all of our sessions are free. All of our sessions are free. To register, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net or call the toll-free number 1-877-626-4651. Don't worry about how tough they are. Worry about how tough we must be. Never had a victory.
You're live.
It's time to strategize.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Don't forget, I'm excited about this weekend shows, both tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MS Now, Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. I've got everybody from the leading Democrat on Intel to talk about Iran and what's real, what is not real, as well as where we are going in terms of the security of our communities. I'm going to have on Jim Clyburn over the weekend, talking about he's running again, even at 85. He's ready to keep going. I'm going to have on Sean Harris, the black Democrat that outpolled everybody in Marjorie Taylor Greene's congressional seat special election. What's the strategy going forward? How did he do it? And we're going to deal with the Oscars coming up Sunday, and we'll have some of the reporters now, a few years after we did Oscar So White, have things really improved in the industry. So a reason to really tell everybody, Saturday and Sunday, make sure you tune in to Politics Nation. You that are in the New Jersey, Connecticut, and New York area, I will be at the House of Justice meeting at our temporary location, Mother AME Zion Church, historic church, 137th Street, between Lenox and 7th Avenues. I was not there last week. First Saturday I missed in many, many months. I was there, not there. I was doing the funeral services of Reverend Jesse Jackson. But I'm there all the way through now to the convention. Make sure you come. You that are not in the area, watch it live on Impact Television or on nationalactionnetwork.net's website. The National Action Network Convention, we're going to have very significant people that will impact directly the midterm elections, that will directly impact who will be the next president. I'll give you that before I announce the program participants next week. We already have, as of when I went on the air, we had 7,672 people registered, pre-registered. I'm going to take it up to 8,000. I wanted to cut it off at 5, but people keep calling. If you have not registered, go now to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or you can call the toll-free number and register. This convention, given what we're facing, is probably in our 35 years the most important, because we've got to have a collective plan based on the right information. So make sure you register and come. All the sessions are free. If you can't do but 1 day or 1.5, whatever you can do, but register right now. All right, let's go back to the phone. Let me go to the incomparable, imitable, profound, I can't think of enough terms, president of the Greater Cleveland, Ohio chapter of National Action Network, Dr. Marcia McCoy. Dr. McCoy.
Thank you so much, President and founder of the National Action Network.
We just love you dearly. The Midwest region, we've been meeting, planning to make sure that all the leaders are there for the National Action Network Convention. We are geared up and ready to go. But I do want to announce that we're having our Women's History Month luncheon in honor and memory of Coretta Scott King. For more information, we ask you to dial 216-374-0913. I just want to say this right quick. I simply want to thank Morgan. They provided the aprons for the men that's going to serve the women at the Women's History Month luncheon.
That's beautiful.
And guess what? The bishop will have on the apron. Come
Is
on,
that
Bishop.
right? Wow.
Dr. Al Sharpton,
Yes, sir.
I need Dr. Williams to hold my mule, my brother.
I'll have to hold it for him this week.
Okay. There is one single solitary thing that we all know, and that is that God hates a liar. Two American presidents have lied to the African Americans, President Woodrow Wilson and convicted felon Donald J. Trump. Wilson solemnly promised black people in 1912 that if they voted for him, he would be fair to them. When he got elected, he lied and betrayed us and colluded with the Ku Klux Klan and filmed the birth of the nation. The other one is convicted felon Donald J. Trump, who promised a new deal for black people, and some of us fell for the okadoke that would be the best ever for them. Once in office, one of the first executive orders that he issued was to cut the throats of black people, cut the throats of people of color, to obliterate and do away with diversity, equity, and inclusion. He systematically went on to fire thousands of black leaders that worked for the federal government.
Right.
To take down every black person whom he declared had succeeded because of discrimination to white people. His policies have been nothing less than promoting racism, bigotry, and white supremacy. From refusing to rent to black people, weaponizing the government to do damage to cities governed by people of color, and the worst of all, referring to the first black president and his wife, Barack Hussein Obama, as apes.
Right.
Now, having been recorded more than 35,000 lies to his person, the egregious and most despicable one of all is that he would not engage the nation in war and having American blood spilled on foreign soil. To date, that lie has killed 11 American men and women.
Right.
His Secretary of War, with his acquiescence, shares the frightening thoughts that ground troops are possibly poised to die in a conflict that is shrouded with ambiguity and shame. Three uncertainties plague the American people in this present war effort. Number one, is this a diversion from the Epstein files that allegedly portrayed Trump as consorting with a 13-year-old girl? Number two, is this a grab of oil as evidenced in the conquest of Venezuela? And number three, is this a planned effort to stay in power forever in spite of the mandate, the American Constitution that limits the power of a president to serve 2 consecutive terms? The U.S. Constitution gives exclusive power to the Congress to declare war. But the Congress has become nothing more than a vending machine for after-the-fact refill quotes about presidential lawmaking.
Wow.
Now, thousands of Americans are caught in the conundrum of complicity in war and hostility abroad, trying to get back home because of a lying president who vows to be a king or a Hitler-like dictator. History will record how, as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. so eloquently said, the true measure of a man or woman is not where they are standing comfort and convenience, but where he stands or she stands in times of challenge and controversy. November 2026 will determine, Dr. Sharpton, who we are and how strong we vote to rid this nation of a lying, convicted felon, a narcissistic, notorious racist, a bigoted white nationalist supremacist who lives to make America void of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and secure for Caucasian only. God forbid but the handwriting is on the wall. You and I and everybody must go to work and vote in November 26th.
All right.
Ditto, ditto, ditto.
Bishop, you laid it out. Thank you so much, as always, for ending our week with a message from the Bishop E.T. Cabanis of Greater Abyssinia Baptist Church in Cleveland, chairman of the National Action Network Greater Cleveland chapter. Let me say this as we get ready to go, that I hope you understand, and I think about this after every funeral. I hope you understand as we mourn our loved ones, friends. I just mourned Reverend Jackson. That do not be unmindful of the fact that your funeral is already scheduled. You just don't know the date. And no matter what you do, no matter how loud you talk, no matter how fashionable your wardrobe is, no matter how many friends you have or don't have, at the end of it all, somebody's going to have to stand over your body and say what your life meant. People from great and low places did that around Jesse Jackson last week. But you may not be Jesse Jackson or John Lewis or Dr. King. But what is somebody going to say about you? You need to think about that every day and guide yourself toward making your life mean something beyond your daily thrills and pleasures. The fact of the matter is, no matter how much fun you have, it will not matter when you're gone. People will not talk about the fun you had. And no matter how many clothes you had, people will not bring your wardrobe to the cemetery. And no matter what your title was, if you had a title and didn't have a function, they can call you whatever they wanted. If you didn't do anything with it, nobody cares. So at the end of the day, live as enjoyable a life as you can, but also live a life of meaning and a life that mattered, and a life that is significant. So when your children and their children have to lay you down, they can do it that with pride and not excuses. Be part of something so somebody could say your passing this way was a blessing. Think about that. Let me thank all of you for being with us this week. I'll be back on Monday. My Sunday show, I'll be there. I'll be at the rally tomorrow in Harlem. And, of course, on Politics Nation, both Saturday and Sunday evening. So remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Whatever you do, keep it real.